If you are a Harry Potter fan, you perhaps can recall a scene from the movie where Ron was provided with Felix Felicis, the so-called liquid luck. Harry added the liquid in Ron's drink to make him feel well before a match. Ron was actually an excellent keeper, but his only problem was his confidence. This helps to calm Ron's nerves because he believes he is now lucky, and because he thought that he wasn't nervous and really played his part well, just as he was always capable of doing. After the match, Harry took out the liquid luck from his pocket, showing it to Hermione. He didn't add the liquid luck before the match. It was with him always. Do this belief and positive thought infusion in performance outcome is restricted to Hogwarts only? Or is it common in the world we live in? Let's check out. A study performed in 2007 on the college students who are untrained for lifting the weights. When the experimenter gave them an amino acid supplement, there was a 20% increase in their strength. The experimenter knew very well that there were no amino acid supplements. It was just a milk sugar tablet always. Next year, another study was published in European Journal of Neuroscience. This time also, the untrained athletes, when given a high dose of caffeine, shows an increase of their strength by 22%. The drink that boosts their performance is just a decaffeinated coffee. Another group studied the same on the trained runners. Even for the 84% of the runners, they found an increase in their performance by 8% when they have provided them with super oxygenated water. By this time, you must catch hold of the trick. It was only the plain water the runners are having always. These are only few of the scores of studies in this aspect about how infusion of positive thoughts and belief to the inert substance can alter the performance of your body physiology. Many people know the story of Mr. Wright, who was found to have the cancer and in 1957 was given only days to live. Hospitalized with tumors in the size of oranges, he heard that scientists had discovered a horse serum, Crabuzin, that appeared to be effective against cancer. He begged to receive it. His physician, Dr. Phillips West, finally agreed and gave Mr. Wright an injection on Friday afternoon. The following Monday, the astonished doctor found his patient out of his deathbed, joking with the nurses. The tumors, the doctors wrote later, had melted like snowballs on the hot stoves. 2 months later, Mr. Wright read medical reports that the horse serum was a quack remedy. He suffered an immediate relapse. Mr. Wright's doctor told him, "Don't believe what you read in the papers." Then he injected him with what he said was a new, super refined, double strength version of the drug. Actually, it was a saline, but again, the tumor masses melted. Mr. Wright was the picture of health for another 2 months until he read a definitive report stating that Crabuzin was worthless. He died 2 days later. Doctors who know this type of stories dismiss it as one of those strange tales that the medicine science cannot explain. The idea that the patient's belief can make a fatal disease go away is too bizarre. But now, scientists learn that the placebo effect is even more powerful than anyone had been able to demonstrate, and are also beginning to discover the biological mechanisms that cause to achieve the results that borders on the miraculous. Using new techniques of the brain imagery, they are uncovering a host of biological mechanisms that can turn a thought, an action, or a desire, or a belief into an agent to change the cells, tissues, and organs. The placebo effect is thus defined as a phenomenon in which people experience a benefit after the administration of an inactive substance or after a sham or fake treatment. inactive substances like sugar pill or saline. It is kind of patient's condition improves in the belief that they are getting treated. It looks like an active drug, of course, but has no pharmacological properties of its own. A placebo is thus a fake treatment that in most cases produces a very real response. Placebos are the lies that heal. To give demonstration of what a placebo is, I will take out a medicine from the strip. This is the medicine, the capsule, and I will open the capsule to take out the active ingredients that it has and will discard that. The capsule is now empty, and now I will take the sugar and put it over within it, and now it is a sugar pill without having any active ingredient. Do you think it still has the potential that it holds to cure the disease the medicine is designed for? Studies have shown time and again that placebos like this can work wonders. Like real drugs, they can cure diseases. Remember, it is not just the subjective experience or the feeling of the patient or the emotion they are feeling associated with the taking the drug, but it is the hardcore physiological change that can be measured by means of the modern biomedical technologies like that of the fMRI, the checking by hormonal level by ELISA, heart rate monitor, etc. Even these placebos have been reported can cause side effects like itching, diarrhea, nausea, etc. They can lead to the change in the pulse rate, blood pressure, or the skin condition. The question is that how a placebo like this can cure a disease, when and why it will work, and how often it works. Whether the people like you or me are affected by this placebo effect in normal day-to-day life. What are the factors that affecting the placebo effect? And most importantly, is there any rational explanation or scientific evidence behind the mechanism by how this works? To note over here, the sugar pill like this or the saline solution is a placebo, but the positive effect or cure produced by a placebo drug or treatment, that is the placebo effect, is not caused by the placebo. The effect is solely due to the patient's belief in the treatment. It is kind of that your brain mimics the actual drug experience. In today's journey, we will encounter people from different domains like patients, like doctors, scientists, the researchers, the pharma companies, and the people from every walks of life like you and me. We will also come across many scientific discoveries in this field and their implications in our everyday life. Let's start with 2 spontaneous remission cases in cancer. At the beginning, let me introduce you with Stamatis moraitis. In 1976, he was diagnosed by the cancer and doctors told him that he was only 6 to 9 months to live. Being sure of the death, he refused to accept the chemotherapy and medication. He was a Greek residing in USA, and to cut his funeral costs low, he went back to his hometown. He chose a different therapy, nature, community, farming, and some of his good old-fashioned brew. But he didn't die soon. How many years you think he survived after his initial diagnosis? He survived for a long 36 years after his initial diagnosis in 1976, and he finally died on 2013. 25 years after the diagnosis, Stamatis went back to the United States to ask his doctors what had happened. Apparently, all the 9 doctors were dead by that time. Clary Hasser. She was diagnosed in 2008 by adenocarcinoma. Without surgery at an early stage, it is essentially a death sentence. Radiation or chemotherapy might prolong her life to a certain extent, but she refused both. She changed her relationship with fear, changed her psychological and belief system, and become a different person. She checked by a CT scan in 2013. There are no traces of adenocarcinoma over there. If you think these two cases are just an outlier, I will recommend you to visit the website of the Noetic Sciences. You can Google search Spontaneous Remission Project, which catalogs and holds a database of thousands and thousands of such cases compiled with details. This seminal work was done by Stuart Wolf in treating the vomiting and nausea of the pregnant woman. He treated his patients with the drug called Ipecac and studied their condition after 20 minutes. What do you think? Will the medication could able to stop vomiting 20 minutes? Of course they will do, because the doctors told that this is one of the best anti-vomiting drug available in the market. But the twist over here is Ipecac is a strong vomit inducer which is used for generating vigorous vomiting and used to wash stomach during the poisoning. This is a successful experimental evidence in reversing the effect of active metabolites in the drug by means of expectation. This old study by Ikeme and his groups on contagious dermatitis, a skin disease causing rash. It was done on the participants, all of whose one hand was rubbed with either of the poisonous lacquer or wax tree, which release an obnoxious substances and causing irritation and the skin rash instantly. Their other hand was treated with a harmless leaf as a control. The question is, which hand do you think the allergic reaction would be? Whether it will be in this left hand or in the right hand. Of course, the allergic reaction is seen on the right hand to the 85% of the participants, and in 15% of the participants rash developed on the left hand. The actual treatment was like this, and the harmless leaf caused the allergic reaction, and the toxic poisonous leaf causes rash to a very less percentage of the people. This proves that suggestion-related production and inhibition of contact dermatitis is possible. Anthony Robbins' book of Unlimited Power describes a case of a psychiatric patient with a split personality. One of her personalities was diabetic while another was not. Her blood sugars would be normal when she was in her non-diabetic personality, but then when she shifted into her diabetic alter ego, her blood sugar rose and all the medical evidence demonstrated that she was diabetic. Psychiatric Bernard Brown, author of The Treatment of Multiple Personality Disorder, describes the case of Timmy, who also had a multiple personalities. One personality was allergic to the orange juice, while another personality is non-allergic to the same orange juice. Hence, this case proves that the psychological makeup creates or eliminates a disease, as in these cases, having splitted up with their personalities, have different physiological and health conditions according to their psychological makeup. The makers of the top-selling hair regrowth solution Rogaine has performed a clinical trial with more than 2000 subjects studying the effect of their hair solution. They use different solution percentage in different conditions and for 32 weeks and 48 weeks and have seen the benefit of their solution. There is a placebo control like always in a clinical trial. The group got only a fake solution treatment. This group is essential in measuring the activity of any medicine to measure that how effective the active ingredients is in compared to the treatment with nothing. What do you expect? Will belief is potent force for regrowing the hair? As it seems that 5 hairs per square centimeter of their skull and here 4 hairs per square centimeter of the skull have regrown just by believing that they are getting potent hair regrowth solution. Placebo response was also observed in case of major depression and the antidepressant response. On the way we are taking a pill or the expectations we have about a pill or the therapeutic alliance that provided along with the pill can make a placebo pill to work like a major antidepressant. The placebo response is also been observed in treating the cases like asthma. Over here in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is the topmost journal in the field of medicine, the Ted Kapchuk and his group have compared an active drug with that of the placebo and a sham acupuncture and no treatment, and found that the placebo response can also treat asthma. Another study published by American Psychological Association was done when 2 groups are having the same milkshake of 380 calories, have the notion that they are having either 160 or 620 calorie according to the suggestions provided to them. The ghrelin hormone level increases when we are hungry, thus telling the brain that the body needs to be fed. When our stomach is filled with the food, the level drops. This study have shown that according to the mindset or the psychological mediation or the inputs, we can alter the ghrelin response, the hormonal change that can cause or make us feel hungry. The effect of food consumption can alter our physiological response towards the food by means of our belief towards that. So next time you are having a high fat diet and worried about the same, it actually causes more harmful effect, as the hormonal level will do the needful change so that your worry becomes the truth, or that is more fat will be absorbed from the food. Just similarly to the hunger response mediated by the ghrelin hormone over here in this experiment. So do placebo effects deals with pills, solutions, creams, or we can escalate it further? That's what done in this study published in New England Journal of Medicine, one of the topmost journal ever in this field of medical research. They compare a partial meniscectomy with a sham surgery, which means a fake surgery. Meniscectomy is the partial removal of the outgrowing meniscus present in the knee joints. This makes the pain worse for the patients. The removal of it by surgery was the most effective treatment. The doctor group in this study do the surgery in the group of patients, while another group just got the fake or the sham surgery. They performed all the rituals in the second group as well. They have done the pre-tests before the surgery, anesthesia, even using the surgical equipments. But this time only for the superficial cut, followed by stitching back again. The follow-up surgical procedures for the upcoming days were also the same. Now what do you think? Only a skin cut sign with stitching in one's knee will make the immobile patient to get off the wheelchair and walk with their own leg? If you said yes, then you are correct. However crazy it seems, the study concludes arthroscopic partial meniscectomy were no better than those of the sham surgical procedure. Studies like this overthrows a prolonged treatment technique. It causes a lot of hues and cries in the medical world, time and again. The medical practitioners who are confident enough and have only this skill in their repository were in the big soup. They tried their best to suppress studies like this to reach into common people like us. Ted Jack was a professor in the Harvard Medical School. He is a stalwart in this domain of placebo treatment. Out of his many remarkable works, this particular study compares an acupuncture which is done in the wrong way, that is a placebo acupuncture, with that of the placebo pill. The acupuncture was performed without letting the needles get into the skin up to the depth it should. Other patient group is treated with a fake pill. Now this study turns out to be literally a nothing versus nothing comparison. Which group do you think improves better? It's one who believes that undergoes an acupuncture because it looks more ritualistic. Sham acupuncture device has a greater placebo effect on the subjective outcome of the patients than the oral placebo pills. That's what this study concludes. To note over here, acupuncture, even performed properly, also only capable of treating patient by placebo effect. Injury or damage in vertebrae and spinal cord has long been treated, even till death, with injecting a substance like cement into the gap to seal the thing. The extensive clinical experience and observational research indicates vertebroplasty, so what it is called, is substantially and often dramatic improvement in the pain from the vertebral fractures. However, this study by Miller and his group have divided the patients having the vertebral fractures and treated them in two different ways. One group is getting normal vertebroplasty, that is the procedure of a special cement being injected. Another group is getting a sham intervention, that is no cement has been provided, only a superficial cut. When they compare, what they found that vertebroplasty is effective in relieving the pain not by the virtue of injecting the cement to stabilize the fracture as we have thought, or the whole medical world has thought, but simply by the placebo response. Even only the cut sign makes the patient feel better of their vertebral fracture and they could able to move around after the surgery. So vertebroplasty has a placebo efficacy but no specific efficacy as published over here. Even in the disease of the Parkinson, the sham surgery shows a better response when the surgery was provided with the expectation that a gene to be delivered that works better in the Parkinson's patient, even more than when the real surgery is concerned. This study is another proof of the common joke in Parkinson's research that only progress we could make taking into consideration of all the advanced knowledge and technologies at our disposal is the sham surgery. Parkinson's disease has a profound physical symptoms caused by the low level of the neurotransmitter dopamine. In one of the study over here, where the patients are treated with the actual medications, that is the L-Dopa, that is in the used for the treatment of Parkinson, and other group was treated by placebo. So in compare to the untreated group, the placebo group starts secreting the dopamine just on the basis of the expectation that they are getting the treatment. L-Dopa also of course shows the increase in the dopamine level, so as the placebo group. Here in this study they concludes that the strength of belief of improvement can directly modulate the dopamine release in patients with Parkinson's disorder. Same finding was done on another study published in one of the topmost journals Science in this biomedical research field. They found strong correlation with infusing the hope, belief and expectation in the patient suffering from the Parkinson's literally makes their brain to synthesize the dopamine. They have performed the PET scan on the patient's brain and confirmed that this dopamine release causes the physical improvement in the patients with the Parkinson's disorder. So the proposition of this lecture title holds that whether you can treat Parkinson's with packaged sugar, that is a placebo. Now I think you shouldn't need the time to answer this question. Scientists did prove that it is probably the best medicine out there. Only thing patient require is not a packaged sugar but a packaged belief. As you now aware of the many studies and incidents that strongly demonstrate the placebo effect and its power to heal, next we will move to understand the biological and the psychological mechanism by which the placebo effect works. We will take the physical pain sensation as our model and try to dissect the pathway underpinning the relief sensation from that pain, or even otherwise, to create the pain when it is not there in the first place. See you in the next episode of this series. And thank you for joining me.